But nothing lasts forever.
The Black Widow movie is something that is very much a long time coming, in more ways than one. Despite her being introduced in Phase 1 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe via Iron Man 2, it's taken her up until Phase 4 to get her own solo movie. Plus, the pandemic has delayed the movie's release date multiple times, and it might still be delayed. Because of that, fans have been weighing in the theories about what might happen in the movie and how it'll tie in to everything else. Allow us to break down 8 theories about Black Widow. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Number 8. Theory number 1. Multiple Taskmasters? This one is a bit odd in context, but it wouldn't be the oddest thing in the world, as we'll explain. The Taskmaster is traditionally just one man. However, there has been speculation that there were actually multiple people wearing the mask across the film. Normally, the powers of Taskmaster are that he can replicate the abilities of other people. However, with other people appearing as the character, it would explain why they have a variety of skills to choose from. It would also explain why Red Guardian could still be seen fighting Taskmaster one minute, but could also be using the shield later under the skull helmet. What's more, we know that this movie will focus on the Red Room that gave both Natasha and her sister, Yelena, their skills. They were clearly more than happy to go and make more than one Black Widow, so why not go and make more than one Taskmaster? Imagine an army of soldiers with that amount of skills and abilities. That'd be tough to beat, so perhaps that is what Widow and her allies are trying to do.
How many others are there?
Enough.
Number 7, and theory number 2, Hawkeye appearance. It's important to remind you that Black Widow's movie is one that is taking place between the events of Civil War and Infinity War. So thus, the snap has not yet happened, and the world as we know it hasn't even heard of Thanos as a whole. As such, there are plenty of opportunities for cameos to arrive in the film, such as the already confirmed Thunderbolt Ross. But the one that fans are most wanting to see is that of Hawkeye. In the comics, these two have had a very deep on-again, off-again relationship, but in the movies, they're more friends and saving graces in terms of making each other better. While we likely won't get the answer to what happened in Budapest,
just like Budapest all over again,
we could see Hawkeye coming in last minute to help Natasha get things settled and further make their endgame moment all the more heartbreaking. Number 6, and theory number 3, more flashbacks to the Red Room. Another element of Black Widow's backstory that the MCU has been more than happy to showcase is that of her struggles and journey to survive the infamous Red Room, the place where she was trained to be a killer and have no remorse, taking everything from her, including her ability to have children. With Yelena being back in her life, as well as Red Guardian and their mother, we're likely going to see more flashbacks about how they're all connected and why they are all alive in their forms when Natasha comes a-callin'. This could also help clear up why Natasha chose this moment in MCU history to go and find them and clear her ledger, if you will. Usually, the first solo movie is very much about origins and how characters came to be how they are. So we'd be honest and a little shook if this particular theory didn't come true. Number 5, theory number 4, Traitor? Here's something that can't be ignored. In the comics and other media, the Red Room Project has produced some of the scariest individuals that the world has ever known. And yes, we're throwing Natasha herself into that list. Anyone who came from the Red Room is a killer. That much we already know. But their loyalties were something that was also meant to be ingrained into them. In the comics, Black Widow got out because of Hawkeye's influence, and it's clear that she believes her allies she'll collect in the movie are more than happy to come and help her in her cause. But what if that's just part of the ruse? Think about it. How convenient is it that Natasha is able to get all of these people back to help her? Sure, Red Guardian seems like a lovable giant,
still fits.
but that doesn't mean he's not playing two sides here. Same goes for the others. Depending on the depth and reach of those at work here, and the fact that we don't see Natasha mention them in Endgame or Infinity War at all, maybe she has a good reason for not bringing them up. Number 4, and theory number 5, the role of Thunderbolt Ross. As noted earlier, one of the characters of the MCU that we know of is going to make an appearance in the film is that of Thunderbolt Ross, who at this point in the MCU timeline is a bigwig in the government, and one of the people behind the Sokovia Accords that says heroes can only operate if the governments of the world will allow them to. Which brings us back to his role in Black Widow. She betrayed the Accords via attacking Black Panther and allowing Captain America to escape in Civil War. So she's a wanted woman, one that we know Ross would love to capture for various reasons, if nothing more than to show that they can take these heroes, as he'd like to say, down, and that the government can't be usurped or ignored. Or he could have a bigger role in the Taskmaster project than we realize. He's certainly capable, and if he feels it could benefit the US, he'll do it.
You think all's forgiven?
Number 3, and theory number 6, the rise or fall of a widow. We already know that Black Widow is going to go and survive this movie for various reasons, not the least of which is that she dies later in Endgame to get the Soul Stone. However, when it comes to her supporting cast, not so much. Their fates, their futures, are very much up for debate. The key one we're going to focus on here is that of Yelena Belova. She in the comics is the second Black Widow, and one who has far fewer scruples than Natasha more times than not, and has had various battles with Natasha in comic history. Here though, they appear to have more of a sisterly bond. But that could mean that Yelena could have one or two fates in the movie. The first one is that Natasha sees that her time is coming to an end sooner rather than later, and that she'll want the Black Widow name to live on. And thus, she'll give the mantle to Yelena to take over when she's gone. However, the other end of that spectrum is just as likely, because as some fans pointed out in Infinity War, Natasha's look and attire resemble that of Yelena. Blonde hair, an outfit that resembles what we see in the trailers. So it could be that Yelena sacrifices herself to complete the mission or dies during the mission, and thus Natasha dresses like her to go and honor her. Either way, it's an option. And though the actress behind Yelena, Florence Pugh, has teased she'd love to be in the Hawkeye series, that doesn't mean that it'll happen.
I couldn't discuss any of it.
She might just be playing up the media because she can't say what happens to her character. Number 2, and theory number 7, Clone Wars. Long ago in a galaxy far, far away. Oh, wait, wrong franchise. Seriously though, in the comics, Black Widow has a very convoluted history. Seriously, it's weird. And one of the more recent events that happened that proved this was when she died in the events of Secret Empire, and she was back not long afterwards, because she was cloned. Yes, the Red Room program made it so that they could bring back their members, and that apparently included Black Widow. This has led to many fan theories about the film, including that Taskmaster might just be a souped-up clone of Natasha, or that Natasha finds out about the cloning and takes it for herself to activate once she dies in Endgame. Weirder things have happened, trust us. Black Widow is easily one of the most popular characters in the MCU, and there are rumors that this solo movie isn't a one-off, so maybe she's not dead after all. Number 1, Soul Stone's return. While Endgame was a phenomenal movie in many respects, even the most die-hard fans admit that there are a lot of plot holes that can't easily be explained, not the least of which is the issue with the Soul Stone. On the planet of Vormir, we find out that a soul for the soul exchange must happen for the stone to arrive. Thanos sacrifices Gamora, and Black Widow takes the fall, literally, to allow Hawkeye to get the stone. But by that phrasing, doesn't that mean that when Captain America returned the stone at the end of Endgame, that Natasha would be brought back to life? Granted, he didn't go and bring her back to the present, we know that, but that doesn't mean she couldn't be alive in another place, another time. That would be a perfect end credit sequence, don't you think? So what do you think? What do you think of this look at how the Black Widow movie might go? Do you think that some of these fan theories might honestly work out like you would expect them to? Do you think that some of these ideas are way off and that there's a better idea for how the movie will go? What do you personally hope to see in the movie? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the channel.